So I have not done a video on the holidays in a long time, and it's that time of year. So I thought it would be a great time to do a video on what narcissists want to happen, what they hope happens during the holidays, and more importantly, what you can do about it. So make sure you watch to the end to get those tips, because it's not enough to know what the narcissist does, why they do what they do. We really have to start changing on our end if we want to see change in our lives, because we know narcissists like things the way they are. The drama that they create, they like that drama. They don't want that to change. But that doesn't mean that we have to stay stuck in the trauma and the drama and the stress and all that it creates. So that being said, let's get started. For those that don't know me, my name is Michelle. I'm a survivor myself of narcissistic abuse. I'm now a trauma-informed coach. I'm also the founder of the School of Transformation, which is a place where we meet live on Zoom every week and we do the inner work together. By the way, there is a 50% off sale currently from now until the end of December. So make sure you check it out. The first thing that narcissists want to happen during the holidays is they want control of your emotional state. Isn't it true that during special occasions, everyone, even difficult people, strive to be their best, strive to feel happy or happier than they normally have been feeling? It's almost like they put forth that extra effort to do so. Narcissists are not like that, because after all, who is anybody to tell them what they're supposed to feel, right? So it's on their terms, their own feelings. Well, they want your feelings to be on their terms as well. And so their goal is to have the power to change your emotional state. For example, a covert narcissist, if you're depressed and down already, and you're not expecting to have a good time during the holidays, well, that's no fun for a covert narcissist. So they try to rope you back in to hoping that things will be different this year. They might point out, like, why are you so upset? Why aren't you having a good time because of this special occasion? And when you point out all the bad things from the past, they might even twist that and be like, you're being so negative. You're looking at the past. You're not letting me grow. And they continue on and on until you're like, well, wait a second. Maybe I am judging the present and the future from the past. Maybe they have changed. Maybe this year will be different. There's nothing a covert narcissist enjoys more than to deflate your emotions. Like a balloon, they blow up and then they pop. And it doesn't make sense, right? Like, why would somebody do that? I've had clients say, like, that doesn't make sense that somebody would want to do that. And technically, it doesn't. A healthy person doesn't want to do that. But with a narcissist, they get their narcissistic supply with power and control. To have the power to get you to trust them again after all they've done to you, only to take it away again, sadly, is a very huge source of narcissistic supply for them. Now, if you are already happy and you are already hoping that this year is different and really trying to get yourself excited about whatever holiday or celebration is coming up, they will do everything in their power to make you feel deflated, make you feel miserable. Again, the ability to control your emotions is what their motive is. So if you're down, they want you up so they can make you down again. If you're already up, they want to have the power to bring you down, which is really so sad. The second thing that they want to do during holidays or special occasions is to control people's perception of you. Now, I'm really focusing on the covert narcissist. And yes, there's a difference in how they want people to perceive you depending on the narcissist, right? For example, a histrionic narcissist will want people to view you as maybe like a trophy wife or eye candy or something amazing, right? Because they feel that's a reflection on them. A covert narcissist isn't like that. They don't want anybody to look at you in a positive light, which, again, usually in a relationship, when somebody looks highly at my significant other, I feel like that's a compliment to myself. But narcissists don't view it that way. They view it as competition. And so they really enjoy having you perceived as a problem, as somebody with a disorder, as somebody that's unstable, difficult to be around, basically, they want everyone to believe that you are them in a sense, right? They're projecting the things that they are into you and hoping that people perceive you that way. Now, the way they go about doing this is before the time you're going to be with your friends and or family, they will treat you horrible. They will insult you. They will make you feel like nothing you do is right. They will insult you and chip away at your self-esteem again and again and again as the weeks lead up to that special occasion, as you're in the car going to the other person's house or before they get to yours. Right? They don't let up. By the time you show up or people show up, your nervous system is in a traumatized state. When you're in a traumatized state, you are kind of dissociated from you, and you're now in a trauma response of either fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Normally, they have pushed you so far that your go-to trauma response, right? Let's say it was fawn, let's say it was flee, let's say it was freeze. They have poked you so much that the only response that you're stuck in now is fight. You're irritable, you're frustrated, you're sick and tired of how they have been treating you. And so you show up to this place in your fight trauma response, which means it's written all over your face. You're snappy. You can come across as irritable and rude because you're trying to defend yourself. You're trying to put down a boundary with somebody that has disrespected it for so long that your survival brain has kicked on and said, you can't handle it. I'm stepping in. And this is what we're going to do. Now, this isn't a conscious choice. This is your survival brain stepping in. But when we're in our survival brain, we don't have clear thinking. We don't handle things from the place of who we really are. We handle them from the place of trauma. What we don't realize, and I've done so many videos on this, is how the narcissist flips. After being so rude and unkind and really pushing your buttons, they then become this like angelic, kind, caring person. And so everyone's looking at them like, wow, they're so nice. And this person's so rude and unhappy. Poor narcissists, what they have to deal with. That's kind of what starts going through people's minds. And so there's another control and power that the narcissist gets that provides the narcissist narcissistic supply to have the control and power of people's perceptions, especially when it's based on a lie and manipulation. To be able to control that and know they're getting away with it is exactly what they want to happen. The third thing that they would want to happen during special occasions is they would want to activate your shame wound. 99.9 people that are in relationships with narcissists, and that's not a real statistic, but this is how I feel. I could be wrong. Most of us are in a relationship with a narcissist because we have a shame wound. In fact, if we didn't, we probably wouldn't be in the relationship with the narcissist. And that's for a whole nother video. Narcissists themselves have a shame wound. They hide it, but what drives their behavior is shame. What creates their false self, their false image is shame. So people that are targets of narcissists and narcissists themselves have the same wound expressed differently. Narcissists have that shame wound, but they don't want to admit it. To them, admitting and seeing their shame wound means they have to come face to face that they are not perfect, and they don't want to do that. And so what they do to navigate their own shame is they project it and fling it onto their significant other. There are a couple of ways they do this during holidays. Let's say it's a holiday like Christmas where there's an exchange of gifts. If they want to activate your shame wound, they know what you want. Believe me, they know what you would love. They know what would make you happy, and they will purposely get you something that is so irrelevant, that shows such little care and thought that it's going to like kind of be a shock to you. And if that's not enough, they will then give what you would have liked to somebody else. What you love and crave, they will give to somebody else and then accuse you of being selfish and jealous of how they treat people. And they will get upset with you and say things like, I can't be myself with you. You have so many problems. You're so difficult. And all of that is strategic. And what they're hoping is that not only do you feel less than by their lack of interest in putting any thought behind what they get you, but on top of it, you will feel as if there's something wrong with you because they are capable of doing that for everyone but you. When they see your shame, it's like a transference takes place. Their shame becomes your shame, and then they feel as if that wiped their shame clean. And so they will do anything and everything in their power to provoke shame. Another thing they might do to provoke shame is, let's say you're with a group of people, they will ignore you. You'll feel as if you're invisible because they will give everyone else attention but you. Again, when you bring it to their attention, they will accuse you of being selfish. They will accuse you of it's your fault because you didn't try to jump into the conversation. Meanwhile, every time you tried to jump in, they would do something to stop that, right? And so it just causes you to feel miserable. And again, this is their power and control. What are they doing to get this power and control? They're opening up your unhealed shame wound. But on top of that, they are taking an occasion that might mean a lot to you and forcing you by the way they're treating you, by the way they're provoking the shame wound. It literally causes you to be so focused on what they're doing and how horrible they're treating you that you're unable to even notice the things that mean something to you. It eclipses the joy out of the occasion. Narcissists during holidays love to divide and conquer. Now, here's the crazy thing. Like narcissists will team up with each other against you. I've had clients that are divorced and tell me that their ex-narcissistic spouse is best friends and visits their narcissistic parent, and how they both talk so badly about the person that is my client. Narcissists love to team up against you to make you feel isolated, even when you're around people. And we know that narcissists breed narcissists, and narcissistic family systems have people that are stuck in roles, right? Where oftentimes your siblings, your extended family, depending on how many narcissistic family systems are connected, there's going to be several different people that might be high on that scale. Well, there's nothing they would love more when they're not trying to outdo each other than to band together to make you feel like you are the outcast, like there's something wrong with you. Another way to ruin how you feel about that special occasion. And number 5 is kind of weaved through all of the other 4 things that I mentioned, but they want you to be so focused on them that you're not connected to you. You're unable to enjoy, that you're so externally focused that the occasion comes and goes and you're left feeling deflated, unable to have any kind of agency in your life. That's their goal. It's really sad to think that there's somebody that says they love you, somebody that you're in a relationship with that has that kind of intent to cause so much damage. If this resonates and you're like, yes, 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 and yes, what can you do about it? The first thing I want to mention is that it's not enough to detox from toxic people. What they're doing to you by these behaviors is they're changing your nervous system. They're causing what we call in the somatic experiencing world as overcouplings. Now, what that means is that your nervous system starts to put things together that don't necessarily belong together. And the thing with overcouplings is that time does not uncouple them. For example, in one relationship that I was in, the person in that relationship did all of those things around the occasion of anniversary. And it got to the point where after that relationship ended, and only up until a few years ago, was I able to enjoy anniversaries again. I went a few years, I felt disconnected during those times when I was in a relationship and it was our anniversary. Sometimes I didn't feel anything, or I felt numb, or I felt dread, or I felt unhappy. Was there any reason for me in the present to be feeling that? No, but my nervous system had an overcoupling that anniversaries were horrible times in my life. And it was still stuck together in my nervous system. So I say that so that you can realize that healing isn't just about detoxing from toxic people. It's also reconditioning us to love things that we once loved. So here are a few tips that can help if you're with a narcissist or after and you're struggling to enjoy these things again. If you're with a narcissist, the first thing that I want to encourage you to do is to start being aware of when you are overly externally focused on how they are feeling. Now, narcissists train you. They train you to be a radar, an antenna of them. What are they feeling? What are they thinking? What are they going to do? What are they going to say? And there's no like, what about me? How do I feel right now? What am I looking forward to? There's none of that in narcissistic abuse. And so we need to start realizing that, yes, we have to notice them, but we also have to start giving ourselves time, space, and attention. And it doesn't have to be just on that day of the celebration, but even before that celebration, on a daily basis, starting to check in. Well, how do I feel? What do I need today to be happy? What do I want to feel today? We start teaching ourselves the healthy behavior of being present with ourselves. Self-esteem is exactly that. It's how we esteem ourselves. The narcissist has convinced us that we need their stamp of approval to feel good about ourselves. And that's not the case. So we have to kind of sever that. I need you to agree with me and to see me for me to feel good. We have to start giving ourselves our agency back, the agency that narcissistic abuse steals and makes you think that you're not allowed to have. Another tip is, if it comes to gifts and you know that your significant other never shows you any kind of care and attention, I would recommend that you start getting in touch with ways that you can give yourself some self-love. Asking yourself, what is something that I would really love to do? Or what would I love to have? What would make me feel special in this occasion that I can give to myself? Your inner self might be like, I would love a candlelit dinner. And you can give that to yourself. I would love to go to this restaurant, and you can take yourself. Now, I know that it's not ideal. And I'm not saying that we have to cut off connections and relationships forever with everyone. But what I am saying is that we need to start building our relationship with self. Narcissistic abuse has us chasing the other person to get some kind of self-love, to get some kind of acceptance. And we start feeling more empowered when we start seeing little ways we can start giving that to ourselves. My third tip is to start really accepting reality and recognize that if the narcissist is shown how they are with the holidays, they love to give that false hope, but stay grounded in what the reality is with this person. Sometimes making a list of all the other special occasions and how they are and what has happened can reground us when the narcissist is putting on that false persona. And they're actually in that love bombing stage that causes the brain to delete the negative. So having those lists will help us to stay grounded in the reality that we're experiencing because of this narcissist in our life. When we're grounded in reality, we know what to expect, even when they're pretending that they've changed or that this year will be different. That helps so that the rug is not pulled out from underneath us. And if you're in a crowd of people and you're with family, the last tip that I want to give, and there could be so many others. So if there's a situation that you would want a specific answer to during this holiday time, write it in the comment section, and I'll try to give a specific video that answers how you can handle that specific situation. But the last one I'm going to mention for the sake of this video is that if you're with a group of people and the narcissist is doing what they do by inflating themselves and deflating you and trying to convince others of who you are or who you're not and who they are and who they're not. Just remember, there's the tendency to want to over-explain and to defend. And the narcissist hopes you fall for that. Because when we're defending and we're over-explaining, we come from a place of need. Like, I need you to know this in order for me to believe this. And it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel comfortable. The best thing to do is to just remind yourself that you know the truth. You know who you are. You know who they are. And you don't need anyone else to give you a stamp of approval in order for you to hold on to your reality. When you come from that energetic space, it's an anchor that keeps you in alignment with your virtues, with your authenticity. And it doesn't push you outside of the bounds of who you really are, which is what the narcissist wants. So those are some tips to help, but probably the biggest tip, the most empowering thing you can do that helps you to not fall for narcissists ever again, not just during holiday time, is getting yourself to a place where you've done the inner work, that you've uprooted the faulty wiring in your subconscious that narcissistic abuse puts inside of you, where you uproot the negative beliefs and the false self-image that they've created in you, and you get to your authentic self. And you start living life as who you really are. There's nothing more that a narcissist hates, and there's nothing that feels better than that. If you're struggling, if you're like, yeah, Michele, that sounds great. I've been trying to do that for years. I want you to know that there's a 50% off sale in Thriver's School of Transformation. This is where we do the CPTSD recovery journey together. You do not have to do it alone.